I welcome you back again to class today. Today we're going to be talking about how to find the square root of a number. In our last video, we talked about how to find the squares of a number using some very simple, interesting math tricks. And I told you that in our next video, we're going to consider how to find the square root. The definition of square root is here on the board. The square root of a number is the backhand result of a square. What do we mean by the backhand result? This means that if 2 square give us 4, to get back that number, we will multiply 2 times. To get 4, we must do the backhand of it, which is called square root. That's exactly what we mean by square root. So invariably, square root of a number is that number or value you will multiply 2 times to get the number. The square root of 4, is the number or the value we will multiply 2 times to get 4. Similarly, the square root of 9 is the number we will multiply 2 times to get 9, which is 3. So you see that whenever we're referring to square roots, we are talking about the backhand result. We are now finding back those numbers that we will have to multiply 2 times to get the number. There are so many persons who do not know the symbol for square root. The symbol for square root is this. The symbol for square root is this, and we call this the radical symbol. So most times you will see some persons writing square root of 36, square root of 49, etc. They usually use this symbol to enclose the number. So this means square root. Basically, the method we use in finding the square root of numbers is the prime factorization method, where you are expected to obtain the primes of a particular number and then split it into 2 to obtain the value you will multiply 2 times to get the square of a number. Probably quickly we could just do that so you see exactly what I mean. So using prime factorization method, I have example 1. I'm given to find the square root of 36. You are expected to find the primes of this number. You know that the first prime number that can go in here is 2. If 2 goes into 36, it will give us 18. 2 goes into 18, it will give us 9. And then 3 is the next prime number that will go. 3 will now drop, and then 3 will come on 1. You'll notice that these primes will be shared into 2. So for instance, if we decide to share this into Mr. A and Mr. B, and then share the primes equally, you'll notice that the number we are going to multiply 2 times to obtain 36 is 6. Therefore, square root of 36 is 6. But today, we are going to look at a very interesting math trick in obtaining the square root of a number. And I guess you're going to enjoy that trick. So let's get into it and notice how we can work that out using that simple trick. So let's take an example. Example 2, for instance. Find the square root of 144. First of all, before you can use this trick, you must master your table of squares from 0 to 10 because they are going to be the foundation for obtaining the square root using this simple trick. Just follow me through so we can go through the steps. The first thing you do is look at the last digit here. The last digit here is 4. Go to your table of squares and check the number whose last digit ends in 4. And from what I can see that it is 2 and 8, that the last number ends with 4. Write those 2 numbers down, 2/8. The next step is to cancel the last 2 digits, like I have just done here. Then go and look for this 1 in your squares. If you find it, trace it to the number that gave you that. You can see I have my 1 here, so which means that this 1 here is this. I'm going to write 1. What this means is that my answer is either going to be 12 or 18. How do I know which one to choose? This number you have gotten here, multiply it by the next number in the counting series. After counting 1, the next number you're going to count is 2. So multiply it by 2. I'm going to have that 1 times 2 is 2. Compare it with this particular value you didn't cancel. If this is smaller than this, then you pick the smaller value. But if this is bigger than this, you pick the bigger value. So since 1 is smaller than these 2, it means that our answer is going to be 12. And you know that 12 times 12 is going to give you 144. I know it may look a little bit funny, but let's go through another example and also walk through that. I have square root of 169. Remember the first step. Go and look for the number in your squares that ends in 9. And as far as I'm concerned, I can see that it is 3 and 7. They are the numbers whose squares end in 9. So I'm going to write 3 and 7. Cancel the last 2 digits. And then look for 1 here. I can see 1 there. What this means is that my answer is going to be either 13 or 17. How do I know which one to pick? The first number you have written here, multiply it by the next number following in the counting series, which is 2. And 1 times 2 will give me 2. Compare this and this. If this is smaller than this, then obviously you are going to pick the smaller number. But if this is bigger than this, you pick the bigger number. So since this is smaller than this, our answer here is 13. I'll do a final example and then I'll leave you to also consider other ones as well. Let's do the square root of 6241. 6241. I'm going to have, look at this last number here. So check through your list of squares. Which number has its square ending in 1? I have 1. I have 9. So 1 and 9. I'm going to write it down. 1 and 9. Cancel the last 2 digits. Go and look for 62 in your squares. You can see that 62 is not there. Whenever you notice that the number is not there, go for a number that is closest to 62, not more than it. And the number that is closest to 62 here is 49, which means it is traced to 7. Write down the 7. Your answer is either going to be 71 or 79. How do I know how to pick the correct answer? Multiply this 7 by the number following 7, which is 8. 7 times 8 will give you 56, if I'm not mistaken. And then compare this and this. You'll notice that 62 is bigger than this 56, which means we're going to choose the bigger number. So our answer here is going to be 79. I hope you can try out some more problems and see if you can use this wonderful trick to obtain the square root of numbers. I'm particularly excited that many of you sent in your comments and your kind words during the last video. I also hope that we are trying our best to make sure that we make teaching simplified for students to pass exams. Continue to like and share our videos so that others can also learn from the numerous tricks we're going to be introducing. Thank you very much.